There really isn't much going on today, or at least not right now. So in this vlog, I'm thinking about showing you all of the gear that I use to vlog. These are gears that I use pretty much all of the time. I don't use them all at once. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes just two, sometimes it's just three. It depends on what the project is, what the topic is about, and what direction that I'm going for, and all that good stuff. So these are going to be my 6 cameras that I use whenever I vlog. Let's get started. The first camera that I want to talk about is the Osmo Pocket 3. Here's a better view of it there. I had to mention this one first because this camera has been kind of sort of my go-to for pretty much all of my videos, whether it being full-on horizontal full-length video and or the 9x16 vertical shorts. This has taken up at least about 75% of all my content making. For the most obvious reasons, it is able to shoot both horizontal video as well as vertical video. That's one. Two, the fact that the stabilization on this thing is insane. Look at that thing go. So anytime you see my videos where it involves me on the road, catching it on the window, or when I'm walking and stuff like that, you see any of that, most of it is this camera right here, as well as this other one, which I will mention in a bit. Like I said, it's made up a lot of my content just with this camera. I use it for a lot of composition shots, just to kind of sort of let the viewer, you guys, know exactly where I'm at, where it is that I'm going, and also help me kind of sort of transition to the next scene, if you will, without having to not even say one word. Like I said, because of its smooth stabilization and built-in gimbal that it has built into this thing, the shots are, I'm just gonna go ahead and say they're pretty much flawless. You carry around a pocket-sized gimbal in your pocket, literally, and you're pretty much unstoppable. Your shots are going to be straight. There's also options for it to be, more creative, where you actually tilt the camera and you get that angle that you're actually, holding it in. There's so many options when it comes to the Osmo Pocket 3. There's so many videos on this, so it's insane. So there's not really anything I can say that's gonna be completely new. But I mentioned this in the vlog before, it just depends how it is that you use your gear. But that is mostly what I use it for, like I said, for composition shots and very wide angle shots, moving shots, and stuff of that nature. So yeah, this had to be the first one that I talk about because, like I said, it's been my go-to, and it's an amazing camera. Another camera in my gear that I use a lot, and this is the most recent one, and I've been talking about it lately, and this is the DJI Nano. This tiny little camera is such a fucking powerhouse. The shots and angles that you're able to get in this, you cannot get with the camera that I'm using right now to explain to you this, nor the Osmo Pocket 3. It's up there with it, but it just can't do what the Osmo Pocket 3 can do. Because of its built-in natural wide-eyed angle lens, you're able to get very nice wide shot, even like super wide angle shots, to be able to get a huge landscape shot. And because of its tiny little compact size, you're able to just place it absolutely anywhere you can think of. And because it's magnetic, you can just place it on absolutely anything. In fact, I think it even works on my ring as well. There you go. I honestly didn't even think that would even work. I'm actually using the necklace pendant right now, and like I said, it latches onto anything magnetic, or metal I should say. So this thing is just, like I said, such a little powerhouse. The angles that you can get and where you can stick this thing to get shots like unzipping a bag or opening drawers and getting that point of view from inside of those things is just mind-blowing. And the fact that it also, not this thing here, this part here, this camera part is waterproof, so you can get much even more creative underwater, dude. For whenever you want to get shots, I don't know, in the rain, or you're washing your car, or simply just shots on the tub. Just don't do stuff that you can't show, right? But you can do all of that with this here camera. And because it comes with all sorts of accessories such as suction cups and magnets, bigger magnets, you're able to, or stronger magnets I should say, you're able to attach them to absolutely anywhere and just get again the most unbelievable shots with this thing. It is definitely a game changer when, as far as how my vlogs have gone now. It's just an amazing camera. Take it from me. Next camera that I want to mention is my go-to camera for whenever I'm out and about, and which is like most of the time, and that is the Sony ZV-1. Some of y'all know this camera, some of you all don't. For those of you who don't, it does not come looking like this. It's got like 2-3 accessories on it. First of all, being this wide angle adapter with the macro / wide angle lens. That's completely separate, as well as this wooden L cage handle that's also separate, as well as the Ulanzi locking system there. If you were to remove all of this, the camera would look very small. It's a point and shoot camera. If you're not familiar with those, it's the kind of cameras that when you open up the screen, they just turn right on automatically. This is my go-to on-the-go camera for the exact reason that it's so small. It's so small. I mean, with everything on it, it's a bit of a handful. But look at that; it fits in the palm of my hand. Because of that, it is, like I said, my go-to camera on the go. And it's the camera that takes up about 15% of my vlogs. So anytime that you see me talking like this to the camera, this is one of the cameras that I'm using. You also will notice that whenever I'm handling that, when you see a little bit of that shakiness, and when I'm walking and talking at the same time, this is one of the ones. It's awesome. Shoots 4K at 24 frames per second, and it's very simple. Like it's not exactly the most hardest camera to use. There's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to it, but when it comes right down to it, if you don't want to really bother with all the settings, what you can do is just kind of sort of set it to the intelligent auto settings, and that basically just kind of resolves all on its own. You don't have to tweak anything, it kind of just does it for you. It's not gonna look the best, but it's completely fine. I pretty much use that all of the time for all of my cameras. Like I mentioned before, I don't exactly have all the time in the world to be, you know, color grading and stuff like that. So I kind of just sort of use just the auto settings. Every now and then I do use manual when it comes to color and lighting and stuff like that, depending on the lighting. But mostly it is a very handy camera. Like I said, it's pretty user friendly. Again, if you don't want to mess with the settings, it's super simple. Right out of the box, you can just turn it on and start recording. That's how easy this camera is. And like I said, all the adapters in it, it just kind of sort of makes vlogging a lot more easier, because without the wide eye lens, it's too cropped in. You would be looking at me like this close, especially with that that advanced steady shot. I would be looking at you this close. So with all of the stuff that I have on this, it just makes it very, very easy. So this is, again, this is one of them. And now let's move on to the second to last camera. In fact, I'll just mention it here right now. You have been looking at it this entire time, and that is the Ray Meta glasses, the Meta 2s to be exact. Very, very handy for point of view shots. You already wear them anyways to block out the sun. You wear them for style and whatnot, or whatever your reason is for wearing them. So you got all of that into just this bundle, and simultaneously you also got the built-in camera for photo and video. The only downside to the video is that it only comes out in 3K, which is kind of sort of fine because you could just kind of sort of format that in post. Another downside is that you cannot switch the format settings. This thing only shoots 9:16, which is the vertical mode. So when you're in post, you can fix it, but it will crop out a bottom top shots. Whenever you do use the Ray Meta Vans and you're trying to go for a horizontal look, pay very close attention to your subject dead center, because like I said, when you change it in post, you're gonna cut off a lot of video. So if you're gonna be using it and you're gonna be pointing or looking, I should say, at a particular subject, make sure it's right dead center of your eyesight, because if you're gonna crop it, you're gonna want your subject right on the center. So that's the only downside, and plus the 3K thing. Another one is this thing's only shoot for 3 minutes. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I get it. It's they're glasses with phones with internet in them. Well, I mean with AI in it. So they're still in the process of becoming something completely big, which I understand. Maybe in the future they'll probably like scale that up for a little bit more longer, or maybe as long as you can record on cameras such as this. But in the meantime, it's only the 3 minutes, so keep that in mind. Again, if you're just going to be using this for POV, which is the only reason why you would even get these things in the first place, again, make sure your subject is dead center, and just have fun with it. Have fun with it. So camera number 5 would have to be one that even you own, but you don't really consider using it because you're all taught to think that to make the best content you have to buy the best camera in the world. But that is not exactly true. So number 5 in my gear that I use is the phone. I don't use it as much because, well, first of all, I use it for, you know, work stuff, phone calls, mostly, right? When I do it, when motivation just kind of sparks, and I think this would be a really cool thing to start the vlog with. So that's when I use it. Or when I just happen to know when something's about to happen, something cool, funny, bad is about to happen, I'll just pop the phone out and just start recording, and that's kind of like why I use it. It's always on you, so it's the perfect camera to use pretty much for any situation. I don't use it as much because, well, first of all, it's a bit busted. The screen's a bit busted. One of the cameras is busted where I can't even use it up to 3 times zoom lens, but that's okay because I mostly just use the wide eye, and the wide eye works perfectly, so it works out awesomely. But yeah, I use it mostly because it's always on me, but like I said, I don't use it all the time. If anything, I will just use it for like intros. I don't think I've even used it for an entire vlog. But it's just that very huge convenience factor that it's just always in our pockets and on our persons at all times. So this is number 5. And no, it's not an iPhone. Sorry. And last but not least, the last camera in my gear that I use to vlog. By the way, if you've gotten this far, go ahead and hit the like button if you got any value out of this vlog. Subscribe if you're into vlogs, or if you yourself are starting in the process of, making content and vlogging, stuff like that. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff right down there. Let's get back into this last one. So the last camera in my gear bag here is the Sony ZV-E10. This is not the lens that comes with it. I did buy this lens separately, but it is a very, very good lens. It does come, if you order, you can order just the body itself, and you can order it with the kit lens. And with the kit lens, it's a pretty decent lens, and again, it's the reason why it's called the kit lens, and something to kind of get you started with. But if you want something with a little bit more depth of field and all that stuff, you do want to put in a little bit more into it and get yourself something like the Sigma 16mm. I left this one for last because, for one, whenever I am at home and I'm vlogging, this is my go-to camera. The reason for that is because the lens is it's not the most like high-end lens, but it's a pretty good lens, and I like to keep it at home because honestly, I'm not even sure why I just keep it at home. It's pretty also compact, just like the ZV-1. But to be quite honest, I'm not even sure. I might maybe start taking it out every now and then, just cause. But it's a very good camera. What I love about it is, like you saw, the fact that you can have interchangeable lenses. So that's like the biggest thing when it comes to this camera. The camera is really, really good, but you can make it even better by putting in a really good, decent lens on it. The camera itself is good for video. Obviously, it's as you've been seeing this entire vlog, and it also takes pretty good pictures. I've taken so many pictures of my niece's graduations, or my other kids as I call her, their proms and stuff like that. I've done a bunch of little projects here and there with this camera, with this lens. So I mean, this thing is pretty flexible when it comes to both of those, photo and video. So this is one of the cameras that for sure is the last one here. Not because it's the best one, but because it's so versatile, and like I said, it's as good as what the lens that it's paired with. So this is the camera that just kind of sort of takes the cake for when it comes to making content. And just like the Sony ZV-1, I didn't show you guys this. It's got the lens that pops out, so you can actually see yourself as you're vlogging. It's got the mic input to put on your external microphones, which I do always recommend. Like I mentioned before, video is 50% video and 50% audio. Well, that about does it, guys. That is all of the gear that I use for whenever I vlog. I didn't want to go into full specs on these cameras because again, these aren't exactly the newest cameras besides the Nano. I've vlogged with it, I've talked about it, I've mentioned what it can do. I mentioned it again in this vlog. And again, I didn't want to go too far into the specs and bore you guys, but what like I've always said, I kind of sort of just like what you're able to do with this gear, with these cameras. You can be a beginner videographer, photographer, whatever, but if you have the imagination, there's really no stopping you with no matter what you have. And like I said, you don't need this kind of gear to start. Like I said, you have one in your pocket right now. And if you want to go a little bit extra, get yourself something like this, an external microphone, a wireless microphone, just to enhance the audio. And honestly, that is really all you need. And everything besides that, well, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. But that's it for this, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you stuck around this long, again, leave a like if you got any value out of this. If you learned a little something, if you think that any of these cameras would be helpful to you in any sort of way, let me know which one that is. And that is it for this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.